Awareness of marital rape in marriage has been growing, but it remains a sensitive and often misunderstood issue. Many societies historically ignore or condone it, often influenced by traditional views of marriage and gender roles, where a husband's sexual access to his wife was considered a given. However, increasing awareness of individual rights, gender equality, and legal protections has brought attention to the harm and violations involved in marital rape. Campaigns by activists, legal reforms, and international human rights advocacy has contributed to this shift, but cultural barriers and legal loopholes still exist in many places. Before you continue listening to this episode, I do want to warn you that this episode contains discussions of sensitive topics, including marital rape, sexual assault, and explicit language, which may be triggering or distressing for some listeners. I strongly advise you to proceed with caution and prioritize your well-being. Viewer discretion is advised, and I encourage anyone affected by these topics to seek support from trusted resources or professionals. I've always tried to enlighten any heavy taboo topics I have mentioned on my podcast, and I've also have given you my personal experiences as well. My experiences when it comes to marital rape may be minor, but it's still something I want to share with you. So if you are interested in hearing my experiences and what you can do to not only help yourself and the people you may know that is going through this, keep listening because you don't want to miss this episode. Welcome back to another episode of yours truly. It is I, your one and only host, Druelee, of course. So before I begin this episode, I just want to let you guys know that if you guys hear music in the background, it's because my neighbors, they are very inconsiderate of other tenants that is living around them. And so, I don't know, it seems like they have a party every single day and it's annoying. So I was just trying to wait for them to stop playing their music, but apparently they're not stopping anytime soon. But you know what? It's not going to stop me from recording this episode. So just wanted to let you guys know if you guys happen to hear any music in the background or if you guys hear Arable as well too, do not mind her because she is needy all the time. Without further ado, based on the introduction that you guys heard, this topic that I would be talking about on this episode is a very taboo topic and it can be very triggering for those who have experienced it. So I don't know if I am able to say certain words just because you guys, I am not a popular podcaster, okay? I'm not getting paid to upload my videos or my episodes at all. If in the future, if I happen to get to that point in my, podcast career, great. But in the meantime, I am just going to, if you guys prefer for me to use other words, that's totally fine. But my thing is that you guys know me. I'm very blunt. I'm very honest. I say things that is very truthful. And I get that some people may be uncomfortable when it comes to certain topics, but like I always mention in the beginning of my introduction, I always warn you guys before you guys continue to listen. If you are, or let's say if you have experienced marital rape or any kind of assault or sexual assault in the past and you're still healing from it, or if you are trying to get away from it, then this episode may not be for you. So if you want to skip this episode, go right ahead. But like I say, if you are a strong-hearted person and you, are interested in topics like these and it's something that you never heard before, then I gladly welcome you to continue to listen. So for those who can't handle this type of topic, then it's okay. I won't be sad, but I do hope that whatever you are going through, that you are able to find help. And of course, I will be putting my episode show notes on my website as well too, that where you guys are able to get a lot of information about today's episode. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this episode's topic. Like I mentioned, we would be talking or diving deep into marital rape. I don't really know much about this topic. I'm not a professional. However, this topic has been in my mind, you could say 5 years ago, or during the time that I was still in that previous relationship or that previous marriage. Okay, and you guys know I've talked about my last marriage and what I went through and all that stuff too. Along with that, there's a lot that goes on into marriage and the relationship that I've been in, and I'm pretty sure many of you guys have experienced the same thing as what I've experienced, and you guys have experienced a lot way worse than me, and I'm so sorry that you have to go through this, but this is my personal experience, and I'm willing to share you guys what I went through along with what I have researched and learned about when it comes to marital rape. And so let's just start off of how this topic came about, okay? At first, I wasn't going to talk about it just because, again, you guys, I'm not a professional. Like, I don't do this kind of work when it comes to, I don't know, trauma or healing or anything like that, right? But just recently, as of right now, if you guys listen to this episode, I am recording this beginning of September. Last month in August, there was this movie that came out called It Ends With Us. So if you haven't seen the movie, then you don't want to listen to this because I'm going to spoil a scene. So if you guys have read the book and you guys have watched the movie already, then you guys will know what I'm talking about. But for those who haven't watched or read the book and you still want to read it and watch it, then you want to fast forward this, or I don't know, just continue listening. Whatever floats your boat, okay? But after watching this movie, for those who have read the book and have watched the movie, I was introduced to this movie because of the book, and the book has two books in itself, right? So the first book, of course, is It Ends With Us, and it became a movie. And I went out with a couple of girlfriends and we went to watch it. And there's a scene where Lily, who is the main character, Lily Bloom, and her husband, Riley, I forgot what his last name is, but basically what happened in this scene was throughout the whole movie, there's like scenes that does go back to the past where Lily and her lover or her boyfriend, back when she was in high school, they were together, and for some reason her dad found both of them in a bed having sex, and apparently because of that incident, her dad beat the shit out of him. She beat the shit out of Atlas, and from there on, they didn't get a chance to see each other until a couple of years, until they were like in their 30s. So with this scene, Lily and Ryle, they are married. Ryle is a surgeon, but at the same time, he has some anger issues, some anger problems, and he gets really jealous because he heard of Atlas, and he didn't like that Lily was meeting with Atlas because apparently they went to this restaurant, and Atlas was the restaurant owner. And when he found out that Lily was still contacting Atlas, he always gets jealous. When they recently got married, she wanted Ryle to charge her phone. So when she gave her phone to Ryle to charge it, I don't know what happened, but somehow Ryle, he must have dropped her phone, what have you. And the phone case came apart, and he saw Atlas' business card. So he confronted Lily about it. He got mad, and then it got to a point where she was basically trying her hardest to apologize. Okay, it was so fucking stupid. So she's trying her hardest to explain to him that nothing happened, he didn't do anything, or she didn't do anything, and that he shouldn't worry about it. She's basically apologizing to Ryle. And at that moment, he was basically saying that she shouldn't do that ever again. And it came to a point where like he was trying to be intimate with her. And apparently she didn't want to be intimate with him. And he was forcing it to her. And of course, this whole entire scene, she was telling him that she didn't want to have sex with him, basically. She was saying no. She didn't give him consent. But he kept pushing and forcing himself to her. And it got to a point where I don't know what happened. I mean, she probably did force him out of her. I don't know. But that was a scene that was like very triggering. It's like, just because he is your husband, that doesn't mean that you're supposed to give your body freely like that. And just because you guys are having a problem, sex is not the solution to the problem. Because what happens if that was the case and then it became a very violent sex? Then what? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know some of you guys are very kinky, and forced sex is something that you enjoy and you get pleasure by. But come on, let's just be realistic here. If someone is forcing themselves to you and it feels icky, you don't like it, you just don't like it overall, then that's an issue right there. Now, if that's something that you enjoy doing, please consent with your partners first before you actually have that happen, because it's a no-no, okay? It just got me thinking about what I've experienced when it comes to things like that. But before I talk about my experience, let me take a step back and kind of explain to you guys what I've experienced based on my religion and my culture growing up. It just got me thinking about the things that I heard growing up in church and what my Hmong culture kind of like taught us women what we should and shouldn't do when it comes to being intimate with a husband, right? Let's start off with going to church, being a Christian. I heard a lot of Christian people using Bible verses to manipulate wives to have sex with their husbands. And there's a couple of them that I want to share with you guys. And like I mentioned, if you guys want more information on that, I will gladly put this on my website. That way you guys can read all the information that I have, and just take into consideration of what I'm telling you guys about. Several Bible verses, it does speak to the relationship between husbands and wives, and it often emphasizes mutual respect, love, and roles within marriage. However, it is important to note that the Bible promotes mutual care and submission in marriage, not being dominated. Here is some of the Bible verses that is commonly referenced regarding submission, though they should be understood in the broader context of love, respect, and mutual submission. And oftentimes Christian people tend to use Bible verses to manipulate. It doesn't matter if you're a parent, you're using a Bible verse to manipulate your child. It doesn't matter if you are husband and wife using Bible verses to manipulate each other. Like, that's so wrong. And here are a couple of them. I think I have 4 of them. The first one is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 3 to 5. It says, the human should fulfill his marital duties to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields to her husband. In the same way, the husband should not have authority over his own body, but yield to his wife. Do not deprive each other except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time that you may devote yourself to prayer. Then come together again so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. So this passage emphasizes mutual authority and respect between husband and wife in sexual relations, and it highlights the importance of consent and care for each other's need. It doesn't say that the wife should only give her body to her husband only. It also tells that the man or the husband should do the same thing. The next Bible verse is on Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 through 25. It says, Wives, submit yourselves to your husbands as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to her husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wife just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. This verse discusses submission. It must be balanced with verse 25, which commends husbands who love their wife sacrificially, just like Christ. And it focuses on mutual love and respect, not one-sided authority. So again, same with the first one. It doesn't only tell for the wife to only submit herself to her husband. He, the husband, will also do the same for his wife. The third one will be on Colossians chapter 3, verse 18 through 19. And it says, wives, submit yourself to your husbands, as is fitting to the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. So for this Bible verse, it enforces the idea that submission should be paired with loving leadership, reject any harsh or unkind treatment. And then the last one is on 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 through 7. And it says, wives, in the same way, submit yourself to your own husbands, so that if any of them do not believe the word, they may be won over without words by the behavior of their wives. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect as a weaker partner and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. And again, submission is presented alongside the command for husbands to be considerate and respectful towards their wives. So these verses are often interpreted as encouraging a mutual loving partnership where both husband and wife care for each other emotionally and physically. They do not advocate or force submission or exploitation, but emphasizes mutual responsibilities and respect in marriage. And like I said, Christian people, they tend to just use Bible verses as if they want to control someone in their life. And based on these Bible verses that I've explained and mentioned to you guys, both the husband and wife should submit to each other. Not only the wife's supposed to, okay? And with that, men should be the one that's supposed to show the example first, basically. And if he is treating her like shit, what makes you think that she would want to sleep with you? That's not how that works. Moving to the Hmong culture practices when it comes to, the husband and wife and intimacy. You guys, I am very old, okay? And I have been listening to Hmong stories on YouTube. For those who understand what I'm trying to say here, if you listen to Hmong women or Hmong men on YouTube, they talk about, or basically they share stories from Hmong people, where they send their stories to them for them to do like storytelling on YouTube. And so I've been following a certain type of person, and I've been listening to their stories about Hmong people. And a lot of them do talk about their life back in the homeland, where they were forced to get married and forced to have sex with their husband. And there's no consent. And their only excuse was that they are the wife. They should do whatever the husband tells them what to do. Oftentimes, I do notice, and I have heard that the husband and wife, they don't love each other. But why were they able to conceive kids? Oh, it's because force, of course. And of course, they are married. They're supposed to have sex regardless. And my thing was like, well, don't you want like a loving and a deep, intimate, sexual, experience with each other? Like, why are you guys just fucking and not really having that intimate experience with each other? That's my question. It's like, don't you want to experience that? And a lot of the Hmong stories online, they don't have that. After years of being with each other, of course, there's the men, they cheat, or sometimes the wife, they cheat too. So it's kind of like, okay, so then if you guys don't really love each other, why not just I don't know, get divorced or just find somebody else. I don't know. But again, you guys have to understand that back in the days was a lot different from now. Now you're more able to divorce and go your own separate ways versus in the past. A lot of times the Hmong parents will instill so much fear in us daughters to where if they divorce their husbands, then they bring shame to the family. Their parents will disown them and all those stupid shit, right? Just to scare us off. And so nowadays, it's more welcoming. Divorcing is more welcoming. Receiving the daughter back into her family, her own family, before getting married to her new family was more welcome now. And yeah, it's just very like eye-opening to hear that a lot of Hmong people, a lot of Hmong couples, they're just in it because they were forced, and they just got intimate because of course when you're horny you want to fuck, then yeah, that's all that you do, you know. But it's kind of like, but don't you want more than just that? It's like, I don't know, like when you have that kind of relationship or that kind of intimate relationship with each other, you're not really having sex, you're just masturbating to each other. That's just my thing. That could be a different topic that I can talk about. But yeah, it just got me thinking about that. I can definitely reflect back on my parents' relationship as well too. I'm gonna be honest, my parents, they don't really have a good relationship with each other. And my mom, she's really open and honest about her relationship with my dad. Being the kids in the middle of their relationship and be the one to go back and forth and send messages to both of them, it's really annoying. Me and my siblings, we got to a point where we just don't want to deal with their relationship. We just don't, and we understand completely why they are the way they are, but at the same time, you know, it'd just be a lot easier to just divorce and get it done over with. But my mom, she has her own personal reason why she's still married to my dad legally. Although they are living separately, they are still technically legally married. I mean, she has her own reason why she's still legally married, so that's on her. But throughout their relationship and what me and my siblings have experienced with them is that, of course, it's really typical in a Hmong family dynamic, or especially with your parents, where you're just in it because for the kids, and you're in it because you're too comfortable, or that's what you're used to, or you just don't want to get divorced because having that divorcee title is shamed upon. Whatever my parents' reasoning is to be together or still be together, that's on them. There have been times where my dad would complain to church members about my mom not being a wife and not showing up to churches and not helping out. And my mom was tell them that her husband doesn't help her. He acts like an angel in front of you guys, but when it comes to his own little family at home, he doesn't help around and all that stuff, right? And you guys might think that I am airing my family's dirty laundry. No, it's more of let's just be real here, okay? Let's just be real and honest here, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. My parents, they don't have that good relationship with each other, and it is what it is. It doesn't matter if us siblings or us kids try our hardest to bring them together or be a messengers to both of them. Like at the end of the day, they both need to come together and figure their shit out. We're not in that relationship with them. We're not in the marriage with them. We're just kids that just didn't ask to be in this world, you know? And so again, my parents' relationship is not perfect. And I'm not gonna tell the whole world that it is, because it's not. They are doing the best that they can, and that's just what it is. But like I mentioned, they will tell the church members, and the church members will tell them, oh, you should act this way, or you should do it this way, or you should do it that way. There are times where church members, they will tell my mom to take care of herself, look pretty, dress really nice. But my mom was like, well, how can I do that when my husband doesn't help me? How can I do that when I have so many kids I have to take care of? I don't have money to spend on me. I have to spend money on paying the bills. So how can I take that time for myself to look pretty and basically try to have sex with my husband when he doesn't help me? It drains the fuck out of me. And the way that they give that advice to my mom is like they don't know what goes in their relationship. They think that it's so easy to just have the time to look pretty, buy some new clothes, put makeup on, and then fuck your husband. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. Like, you guys, my mom had 11 of us, okay? So imagine you having 11 or more kids you have to take care of. Living in the United States is very costly when it comes to having kids. Like, I could not imagine having kids and raising kids, because if I had kids, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I probably just, no. I probably wouldn't even make it. I don't know. But for those who have kids, I give you guys props for that. But for me, I truly do need a partner to help me take care of my kids. Because if not, then how am I able to set aside for myself to truly take care of myself? Especially when you have little kids that depend on you to, feed them, to buy them clothes, and to make sure that they go on their doctor's appointment or to actually go to school, all that thing. So that's a lot already. And those church members, they don't understand that, yeah, it's easy for them to sleep with their husband, but for my mom, she can't do that. And also, you guys have to remember that guys nowadays, I don't know, I'm just speaking on behalf of us women, okay? And then this was where I can tie into my own experience as well. I don't understand why guys think that by having sex and feeding us is a way to sweep under the rug the problems that we have in our relationship. Like, any guys who are listening to me right now, I'm just letting you guys know that sex is not the solution. Food is not the solution. If you want us to fuck you, what you need to ask yourself, what I need to do as a husband or as a man to make sure that my wife is okay, to make sure that my wife is not stressed. Because if you are stressing her out, you're not doing what you need to do to help her, and you're letting her do everything in the house while you are an adopted son to her, what makes you think that she want to fuck and suck and dunk all over you? She's not going to do that, okay? And I'm saying that is because that's what my mom has told me and my sibling, that your dad thinks that just because I'm not sleeping with him, that he's going to find somebody, or that I'm not loving him or I don't love him. And her reasoning is, no, I'm not going to have sex with him. Why? Because he's not helping me. What makes you think that I'm going to have the time to sleep with him and build a relationship with him? It's been so long since we have that kind of relationship. And all these years, he's never truly helped me. So I don't have the desire to sleep with him. So at that time, I didn't really understand my mom's side until I was married, you guys. Until I was married, I finally understand where my mom was coming from. And let me get to my personal experience when it comes to this topic. It might be a minor thing, but it did really got me thinking about it too. Yeah, there was something inside of me that felt like it was not right. Before I get to that, let me start from the beginning, okay? After seeing what my parents went through, seeing what my mom went through, and my dad, of course, I mean, it does take two people to make it work. But when you are a child and you are aware of the relationship that your parents have for each other, you kind of know, I kind of just know that, okay, my dad isn't wrong on this, my mom isn't wrong on this. However, when it comes to being intimate and being sexually intimate towards each other, you can't use that as a way to manipulate each other. And it's not a way to say that, oh, if you don't have sex with me, then you don't love me, or you're not doing what you need to do as a wife duty. No. And the reason why I understand it completely is because during my relationship and during my marriage, that was what I went through. I don't know, maybe it was around 2018, 19, close to when I was about to get divorced, or when I was about to go through divorce. our relationship was not good at all. And, I took the time to go to my social media and delete a whole bunch of things. And especially on my Facebook, I was so emo. Like, I was posting a lot of sad quotes and shit and a lot of sad things. And it just got me thinking about what I went through. And of course, everybody's, especially when it comes to marriage, we all have problems and issues, right? It comes to a point where me as a woman, just a woman's perspective, okay? Me as a woman, when I was going through all these things, when we had issues, and I wanted to talk about it, I wanted to see how we can work things out or get through things. Certain things that just bothers me, and the reason why I couldn't get over it because nothing was being said and done. It was more of having sex, buying me gifts, and buying me food to get away from problems that we had in our relationship. And I come to realize that wasn't enough. Having sex with your husband is not going to solve any problems. Feeding your wife is not going to solve the problem. Buying gifts is not going to solve the problem. Going on a vacation is not going to solve the problem. The only way that you both are able to solve the problem in the relationship is to actually sit down and talk about it and actually make changes. I was in the point where I didn't give a shit about no food. I didn't give a shit about gifts. I didn't even give a shit about having sex with him. It's to the point where I did not want to fuck this person. It's like, what are you doing to make me want to have sex with you? If you think that by massaging me and trying to foreplay me, or if you think that by buying me, I don't know, purses or buying me flowers or cooking dinner or starting cleaning up or doing the laundry, you started doing laundry because I'm mad, that's not going to make me want to desire you. So many of you listening, I'm just letting you know in the woman's perspective, the reason why your wife is not fucking you is because you're not doing what you need to do to make her feel like she desire you. And by pressuring her to have sex with you, by buying her gifts and feeding her, taking her to McDonald's or Burger King, whatever it is, I don't know, whatever restaurant you guys like to go, it's not going to solve, because the more you do that, the more she's not going to get over that issue. And she's going to continue to bring it up because nothing was said and done. And that was what happened in my relationship. Oh yeah, the food was good. I mean, it made me fat. What else? The flowers was okay, but you guys, I'm not much of a flower girl, okay? I'd rather not have flowers. What is it? Chocolate was good. What else? Like, buy me small things were good as well too, but then it was just minor fix into our problems. And it got to the point where I just feel ick. Like, if you're not man enough to sit down with me and talk to me about these things, and you're just sitting there silent, and all you want is just to have sex with me, then that's not how it's gonna work. I mean, I get that it's your way of showing me that you love me is to be intimate, but in this situation that we're in, it's not gonna solve anything. And because of that, it makes me not want to have sex with you. And so then that's what I noticed about that relationship. And yes, I withheld sex. Same with my mom. My mom withheld sex because it's like, why should I give my body to you when you're not doing what you need to do in order to help me? And all you think about is just fucking, right? All you think about getting your lick. And and there have been times where, of course, especially in the Hmong culture, a lot of Hmong people, or especially the females, they tend to say that, the daughters will be just like their mom, or their sons will be just like their dad, right? And there have been times where I withheld sex because I felt like shit. And we were in in the part of a relationship where I just didn't want to have sex with him. He wasn't desirable, just make me not want to have sex with him. And I get the right to say no. And whenever I say no, you know what he did? He would tell his parents or whoever that I was withholding sex. And a lot of times, Hmong parents or Hmong OGs, they will say that, is it because, well, basically they say that the reason why your husband cheated on you is because you're not having sex with him. You're not cooking for him. I was like, what made you think that I want to have sex with my husband when he's not doing what he needs to do to be a husband, to be a father? And you're telling me to have sex with him because that's what he wants? That's not how that works. Hello, reality check. Wake the fuck up. That's one thing I hate about some of the Hmong people. Is like they think that your role as a wife is to have sex with your husband. That's it. And when you say no, you're in the wrong. And that's the reason why he cheated on you. I just hate it when OGs they say that. It's like, he cheated because you didn't have sex with him. Same with the church people. They say it to my moms that the reason why your husband don't want you around or don't invite you anywhere is because you're not sleeping with him. It's like, you expect me to give my body to him when he hasn't earned it, basically. And when I say no, you're telling me that he gets the right to force himself upon me. If you are married and you are in a situation where you didn't authorize or give permission to your husband to have sex with you, and yet he forced it upon you, that's considered as rape. Do your research. Going back to my experience, that's what happened. And before all this happened too, I remember one incident during the time when we were just dating, right? We were at my parents' house, and I don't know what led to it. We came to a point where maybe we were just fooling around. I don't know. We were just talking, and then it got to a point where he forced himself upon me. And I got so scared to the point where he was on top of me. He forced himself on top of me. He didn't do anything, okay? He just forced himself on top of me. And I got scared because I'm like, oh shit, like what the fuck is this? I didn't know what to do, so I just pushed him off. And then I went upstairs into the bathroom and I started crying because it's like, what the fuck is he doing? It's like, I know we weren't playing around. Throughout the whole entire situation, I didn't feel good at all. As I was trying to collect myself in the bathroom, I was crying because it's like, it kind of felt like he was forcing himself upon me, and I didn't like that. I didn't give him permission to do that. After I got out of the bathroom, I went back downstairs and we never talked about it. We just acted as if nothing happened. We should have talked about it, but we didn't talk about it. So fast forward, we got married, went through the whole entire not wanting to sleep with him because he wasn't desirable. And thank God our bedroom had a door where there was a lock, and there'll be nights where I didn't want him to sleep with me and I will lock the door and he'll get mad at me, but I'm like, I don't care because I know you think that just because I don't want to have sex with you, you think you can just come upstairs and just fucking have your way. No, like guys these days, they would try to massage you, try to foreplay you, but in reality, when you feel like shit as a woman, you feel like shit and you don't want to have sex with him, validate that shit. Don't think that just because you're married to this person doesn't mean that you have no right to say no. And don't get me wrong too, some guys experience the same thing. However, there's like a slim chance of a guy who will be able to open himself up and actually tell other people about his experience. Because I do believe that some men, they do get raped as well, or they do get in a situation where they're married and they get raped by their wives. Not a lot of guys will come out and talk about it or mention it. And it's something that we should encourage each other to do so that we can bring awareness. I believe both sex go through it. But just because I'm going through it as a woman, I'm just telling you guys my experience so that for the men out there, if you don't understand why your wife are acting a certain type of ways, because you're not doing what you need to do as a husband and a dad, basically. In my experience, I withheld sex. I didn't feel like having sex with my previous partners because every time we have issues, we never talk about it. We never sit down to actually go dive deep into it. And for me, at that time, I just didn't want to hurt his feeling because it's just not me. It's not in my nature to hurt somebody. Like, I want to talk about our problems. Like, what can we do as a couple to figure this shit out? And if I'm the only one that wants to do that, wants to talk about it, and my partner doesn't want to, then it just makes me feel like shit. It makes me feel like I'm blaming everything on me. Maybe I should shut the fuck up. Or the more I talk about it, the more I mention about it, the more he just doesn't want to deal with it. And it makes me not want to have sex with him because it's like the issue is still there. You think that by buying me food, take me out to eat, buying me, I don't know, handbags, shoes, and chocolates, that's going to solve the problem? No. Like I mentioned earlier, it does not solve anything. As a woman, you have the power to say no. You have the power to not have sex with the guy. But the moment when he forced himself on you, that is what I call rape, and you should report that. I don't care if you are married or not. If you do not consent to that, that is considered as rape. I want to move on to the reason why I want to research about this topic, because throughout the time when I had that issue with my previous partner and I was not giving him sex at all, I wasn't sleeping with him, it got me thinking about, what would you consider that? Would you consider that as rape then? Also, there are times in my Hmong culture, and a lot of people say that if you're married, it doesn't matter if you have sex with your husband or not. You're supposed to have sex with your husband when he needs it. But I'm gonna tell you, that's wrong, okay? That is so wrong. When you as a woman, if you don't feel like having sex with him and you said no already, you're not consenting to it. So that means that in the United States, that's considered as rape. On top of that, if you are unconscious and you weren't fully there, but yet your partner didn't ask you to have sex with you or to be intimate with you and you didn't agree to it, that's considered as rape. What I'm about to tell you guys is what I've experienced during the time when it was our last time being intimate, okay? And you guys are saying, why would you remember the last time you guys were intimate? It's because, you guys, during that time, I was tracking the time when we had sex because I wanted to have a baby so bad, okay? I wanted to get pregnant and I wanted to have a baby. In order to do that, you have to track your cycle. You have to track when you have sex and when you have your period, when you ovulate. That way, the tracker can tell you when it's the best time to have sex, okay? I did that, okay? And so I remember the last time we had sex. And I do have to say, the last time we had sex was not a good experience. I don't know if you want to call it marital rape or not, but let me just tell you guys, okay? The last time we had sex was the time when we were in the verge of just ending it, okay? And we all know guys are horny, and this person was horny, okay? I do remember that I didn't give him consent. All I remember was that when he wanted to have sex with me, he decided to have sex. He didn't ask me for permission, and all I know is that I wasn't fully conscious, but I was half asleep, half awake. Because of course, when you're asleep and if somebody is touching you, then you're like kind of half awake, right? So at that point, I didn't have the energy to stop him because I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit. This motherfucker still don't understand where I'm coming from. If he just wants to fuck, then so be it. And I just let him have his way. And you know, when you have sex with your partner, you're supposed to feel pleasure down there, right? Well, I do have to admit that when he was doing his little business, I felt numb. I didn't feel nothing. Because at that point, as I was laying there, I just didn't give a shit no more. If I tried to stop him or if I force him to not have sex with me, or let's say if I push him away, what's he going to do? is he gonna stop or he's gonna continue? So at that point, me being half asleep, half awake, I'm just like, fuck it. Just hatch your fucking way and be done with it. And throughout the whole entire experience, I felt numb. I didn't feel nothing. And I believe you're supposed to feel pleasure down there. But for me, I felt nothing. And so it just got me thinking. I was like, is it normal to feel nothing down there? I don't know. You guys tell me. Because it just got me thinking about it. It's like, how come he didn't consent with me? Or how come he didn't? I don't know, you guys. I just don't know. All I know is that was the last time we had sex. It was the worst experience ever. I didn't consent to it because I was just done with it. I was just tired of asking. I was just tired of trying to make things work. And that was my experience. You guys may call it marital rape or not. It's up to you guys. But for me, I think when you think about it and you don't feel right about it, it can be that. And so being my typical self, right? You guys don't know me. I like to research things because I want to understand why things happen the way it does or why things work the way it does, right? So I was just Google searching. I think I searched, even though you are married and you did not consent to have sex, is that considered as rape? I think I Google searched that. And then there was a couple of articles that pop up. And I'm going to shift to the next point of this episode is the HF15 bill. Now, this is a bill that was passed in 2019, and I think they recently upgraded it in 2023. But as I was researching this issue or this question that I have in my mind, this couple of these articles and videos came up where a bill was passed, which is the FH15 bill. It was passed in Minnesota, you guys. It was passed in Minnesota in 2019. So basically what it is it appeals the state's marital rape exception, which previously prevented spouses from being prosecuted for raping their partner if they were legally married and sexually active. And this law has allowed perpetrators to avoid prosecution, even in cases where the victim was drugged or unconscious. So the HF15 ensures that a marital relationship cannot be used as a legal defense or sexual assault, closing a loophole that previously protected predators under certain conditions. And this legislative change was influenced by the case of a Minnesota woman, right? A Minnesota woman named Jenny Thiessen, who was denied justice after her ex-husband drugged and raped her. And the law failed to recognize it as a prosecutable offense due to their marriage. So the bill received unanimous support in the Minnesota state, highlighting a significant step forward to protecting victims of sexual violence regarding of marital status. I will leave all of the articles, the bill itself, and a couple of videos on Jenny Thiessen. So basically what happened was when she was still married to her ex-husband, they were in the point in the marriage where they were going to get divorced. And so as they are in process of getting divorced, she found a USB of videos of her husband sexually assaulting her, having sex with her while she was unconscious. Her husband drugged her so that he can have sex with her and recorded it while her son was sleeping next to her. And I was like, damn, that is fucked up. And so I think as she was going through her divorce and trying to figure this out, she knew that this was wrong because she didn't consent to it. She didn't consent for her ex-husband to take videos of her. And there were other videos that her ex-husband was recording of other women. And I guess when it came to them going to court, his lawyer fought on her ex-husband's side, and they didn't recognize that as being raped or consider it as a rape. So again, read the articles, look at the videos, And if you want to do more research, go right ahead. And that's what I found out. I found out that in Minnesota, they passed this bill because of Jenny and her experience. And so, ladies, if you are going through something like this where you found out that your husband drugged you or your husband forced himself on you when you didn't consent to it, you can sue his motherfucking ass for this. And he can't say shit. Of course, you have to have proof, but there are times where people will say that you are married to this person so he can have his way with you. I bet you liked it. That's why you didn't say anything. No, because there are times where us women, we are too scared to the point where we can't report it. Because, of course, if you are a stay-at-home mom and you don't work and you're taking care of the kids, and when you have kids, you don't want to lose them, right? So there's like layers of factors of us women not wanting to leave the relationship or to report it because their husband have all these like money, finances. They can use a lot of things against us women. That's why maybe this is the reason why us women have a hard time reporting it. And maybe some lawyers or, I don't know, government people, I don't know what you call them. Maybe they won't believe you because they think that just because you're married that you're supposed to have sex with that person and it's okay. It's like, no. If you are in this situation, fucking report that shit because this bill was passed, okay? This bill was passed to protect, it don't matter if you're a male or female, it is to protect you. If you have evidence of your partner forcing themselves on you when you did not allow or consent to them to have sex with you, you can sue them for this shit, okay? Like, come on. When I researched this in the past, I'm like, well, damn. I'm like, should I report his ass? I don't know. It's totally up to you. If you feel like it wasn't a major thing or it didn't harm you in a way, then that's helped you. But let's say if it got to a point where, yeah, he was recording you and sending it to his friends or posting it on Pornhub, then fucking sue his ass, okay? I'm just saying though, you guys, like you have to educate yourself out there. And I tried to read the bill, but you guys, it was just so much reading I didn't understand. But basically the bill just stating that even if you are married and you didn't consent to having intimate relation with your partner, then they can't use that against you, saying that, oh, we're married, it doesn't mean anything, basically. But if you know about bills, you know how to read bills and you can explain it, then let your girl know. Or send us some kind of link where we all can read about it. But of course, I will put down all the information on my website so that you guys can click on it and take a read and watch the video. It's very informative, and I am happy that Jenny actually fought for this. And I don't know how long she fought for it, but maybe 3 years, I would say. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it took her a while just to have this bill pass. And Tim Watts was the one that actually signed it, you guys. So, yeah, without her and people that actually supported her and what she's been through, this bill wouldn't exist. So, ladies and gents, like I said, if you are going through this where you are being forced to have sex with your partner, even if you didn't consent to it, this bill will save your ass, okay? And it's best to just fucking divorce their ass and fucking go. Like, it's no point. Especially if you have done your part, done the hardest that you can and what you know of to try to figure out your problems out. And yet your partner is not willing to do that, and they think that sex and food is the only way to fucking solve you guys' problem. Dump their fucking ass and fucking leave their fucking ass, okay? It's not worth your time. I would rather all of you guys to have good sex, not just a masturbation sex. I call that masturbation sex. So if you're with someone who's just in it for themselves, their pleasure, and they're the one that's coming and you're not, and by the time you guys are done having sex and he roll onto the side and he doesn't give a shit about you, and every time you guys have problems and all he wants is just to fuck you because that's just a way of quote unquote showing his love towards you, dump his ass, because that's just masturbation sex, okay? That's not intimate love making. That's just I just want to fuck and that's it. Hit it and quit it and that's it. So they might as well just masturbate on their own room or something. I don't know. But I'm just saying, you guys, it's like, let's have better sex, okay? Let's have good sex, good intimate sexual sex with people that actually fucking care for us, okay? And that is willing to hear us out. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm willing to hear you out and figure shit out for you and with you, I will want that reciprocated, okay? And if you're not willing to do that, there's a door. You can go. Okay, but aside from that, you guys, I know this topic was really heavy. I'm just glad that I was able to get myself into this topic and actually research it a little bit. It's very interesting. And now that I know that this bill exists, let's say in the future, if something were to happen, let's say if I got married again and it was to happen, this will definitely save me so that I can use this to defend my case, basically. But other than that, you know, you guys, especially as women, you have the power to say no, okay? Let's take away all the things, especially my Hmong sisters, let's take away all the things that our parents had taught us is to cater to our husband. No. Let's cater to ourselves and let's remind ourselves that we matter and we can say no to anything that does not, I don't know. We can say no to anything that does not match our vibration, does not match our energy. We can say no. And we got to be strong enough to stay that way. Let's not flip-flop. Let's not change our mind. If you don't want to have sex with this person, you don't want to have sex with this person. And at the moment when they force their fucking dick on you, it's called rape, okay? So, but yeah, that is what I have for you guys. I know, like I said, it's very heavy. And you guys, I try to enlighten these taboo topics. You know, I just like to make people laugh, okay? Because I like to laugh myself too. Yeah, and for those who have experienced much deeper, harsher experience, I am so sorry that you went through that. You shouldn't go through this by yourself. I just wish that we could just talk more about this, you know, and bring awareness about this topic because we don't talk about it. And even in my Hmong culture, we don't really talk about this either. It's more of because you're not having sex and you're not cooking, cleaning, doing what you need to do as a wife. That's why he cheated on you. That's why he stepped out and fucked another bitch. So it's like, what the fuck? So you tell me is that I always have to give him sex? Even if I'm in a good mood or a bad mood, even if I don't want to, that shit is wrong. Let's change that up, you guys. Let's live in the present and let's not live in the past. If we all have that mindset, then we will be with a much better partner, okay? But let me just end it before I start rambling on. But without further ado, that is all that I have. Again, you guys are more than welcome to go to my website where I have all of these, the Bible verses, the HF15 bill that passed already. I'll have all of that on my website. And also, before I end this episode, if you are going through or if you are currently going through a sexual assault or being harassed or you're in a domestic relationship, definitely connect with the National Sexual Assault Hotline. They are open 24/7. If you want to chat with them online, you can chat with them at online.rain, RAINN.org, or you can call them at 800-656-4673. And that way they can assist you with anything that you have. They also assist other things such as if you are going through, like I mentioned, domestic and dating violence or other victims of crimes such as human trafficking or missing exploited children, definitely check them out. I will leave their chat online, their number, and their website on my website as well if you need all of that information. Let's get the help that we need. That way we can live a better life for ourselves because we deserve a lot more, okay? We're not going to be in the lower level, okay? We're not going to stoop to those lower level people, or people who want to take advantage of you because they're selfish and they're fucking horny. Okay, let's just do what's best for ourselves so that we can live the life that we deserve. All right, let me end this episode. Thanks to everyone, as always, for tuning in and for visiting my social medias and, just being loving people, basically. And for those who are silent viewers or listeners, I do appreciate you guys as well, too. And other than that, I'll see you guys on the next episode.